In A Song of Ice and Fire, you'll never hear of an overweight peasant. In medieval settings, being overweight is commonly used as a sign of wealth, and typically accompanied by sloth and greed as character traits. But George R.R. Martin shows us a range of larger characters that don't always fit this trope. As the majority of perspectives are from characters of noble birth, we, the reader, meet those who are able to overindulge, and this is usually reflected in his male characters. Other than Fat Walder Frey, the noble women are usually only seen to gain weight after childbirth or drinking a lot of wine. For example, Cersei, Selyse, Lysa, and after childbirth mentioned in Fire and Blood Rhaenyra too. So today we're going to take a look at the portly men of A Song of Ice and Fire and see how complex they really are in relation to the wealth and weight trope. We'll be starting off with the usurper king Robert Baratheon and his good friend Thoros of Myr, the Red Priest. Our first introduction to a big lad is the King Robert Baratheon. He grew up in the Vale with Ned Stark, and when they're reunited, Ned recalls Robert 15 years ago as clean-shaven, clear-eyed, and muscled like a maiden's fantasy. 6.5 feet tall, he towered over lesser men. Now he has a girth to match his height, and has gained at least 8 stone, and he has a beard as coarse and black as iron wire to cover his jaw and hide his double chin and the sag of the royal jowls, but nothing could hide his stomach or the dark circle under his eyes. Despite Robert arriving at Winterfell with his wife and children, after the initial greetings are out of the way, he ditches them pretty soon after because he wants to go and see the grave of his true love, Lyanna, Ned's sister. Robert gained a great many things through the wealth of his kingship and his Lannister marriage alliance, but he seemingly overindulged for its entirety, depressed over the loss of his perceived love, Lyanna. I mean, she might not have even liked him back. But he's gained weight over the years, and he's become half of the man he was, becoming lax in his approach to rule and leaving that to his wife's family. Robert's extreme wealth came with unhappiness, and had he not been king, even as a noble lord, he would still be rich enough to eat, drink, and sleep his way into the same state. Robert certainly has an appetite, but he's not greedy. He's willing to share his indulgences with his friends, such as Thoros of Myr. As we're in King's Landing, let's also take a look at Thoros of Myr, the Pink Priest. Now, interestingly, it seems like George has given more development to this character than I'd initially thought. In the first 2 books, he's described as wearing red flapping robes and a shaven head. We get no further physical description of him established until Arya in A Storm of Swords, and she meets him in the Hollow Hill, presumably after seeing him initially in King's Landing, and she barely recognises him. She refers to him as a tall, thin man. Arya remembered the Red Priest as fat, with a smooth face and a shiny bald head. This man has a droopy face and a head full of shaggy grey hair. And moments later, when the Hound meets him again, he notes, "You used to shave your head." To which Thoros confesses, "To betoken a humble heart, but in truth my heart was vain. Besides, I lost my razor in the woods. I am less than I was, but more. A year in the wild will melt the flesh of a man. Would that I could find a tailor to take in my skin. I might look young again, and pretty maids would shower me with kisses." Player's gonna play, Thoros, but on a serious note, whilst being in King's Landing and sharing in Robert's riches, he forgets his red religion and becomes vain, and the razor is the perfect symbol for the wealth that corrupts him. When he has it, he's clean-shaven and well-fed. He's since been on a bit of an adventure with the Lightning Lord Beric Dondarrion, and along the way he's found his religion, lost his razor, and found more important things to worry about. He shares with the small folk he's protecting, and even steals to feed them. This is quite a difference to the impression Gendry gets from his master. Master Mott said Thoros could outdrink even King Robert. They were peas in a pod, he told me, both gluttons and sots. He's even later remembered by Tyrion in A Dance with Dragons as the portly, genial, wine-stained roisterer who had loitered about Robert's court swilling the king's finest vintages and setting his sword on fire for melees. Thoros has now become solemn and self-reflective. He's fighting for the small folk and leading the Brotherhood without banners. His attitude and appearance have flourished, which is definitely something that wouldn't have happened had he stayed in King's Landing and its luxuries. He's gone back to his roots on the battlefield and understands real-world problems. Thank you for joining me today. Next time we're going to be taking a look at the Fat Septon and Illyrio Mopatis. Cheerio!